Welcome to Court Cousins. Two cousins sharing laughs and talking the team they love, the Orlando Magic. Let's get into it. Welcome everybody to a special draft deadline edition of Court Cousins. My name is Kyle. I'm joined as always by my cousin, my co-host, Jason the Pich. There he is. We're gonna just kind of do a free flow format today. No segments, no bits, no Rolo check-in. Although I hope you're doing well, buddy. See you there at work. Love you. Hope all is well. So we're gonna run down what did happen and then talk a little bit about what didn't happen. So I'll frame it for you, Pich, and then get your thoughts. The trade that did go down. The Orlando Magic, we've acquired center Bol Bol and guard PJ Dozier and a future second-round draft pick and cash considerations from the Boston Celtics in exchange for a future protected second-round pick, which is protected from 31 to 55. So I don't even know what exactly that means. And we used our traded player exception in order to absorb those two contracts this year. We then immediately turned around and waived PJ Dozier. So Pich, what do you got for us? What are you thinking about this?
I mean, I like this deal. It looks really good on paper. I mean, whether you understand exactly how all the trade things work or not, I don't think is important here. When you take a look at it and you see the Celtics are getting a second-round pick from us, and we are getting a second-round pick from them, PJ Dozier, who we already waived, and Bol Bol and cash considerations, you're kind of wondering, why would someone do this? But the Celtics needed to do it to cut cap. They needed to find a way around it. And we had the trade exemption where we pretty much had to use or lose. So I think this was a win-win for everybody here. And I think some of the best moves made are ones we didn't make.
Yeah.
But I also really love that we get to take a shot on Bol Bol because I've watched a lot of video on him and I feel like there's a lot of potential there. And I think if we're going to be in the market of giving guys like Bamba a shot for several years, that Bol Bol could also do that. But, you know, I'd like to see him. He looks like the kind of person that's going to get hurt a lot, which is something that happens frequently on our team. Yeah. But he has so much skill set. And as you said once, I'm not sure if you said it on the show or while we were just sitting in a game, if he's a good shooter, no one's blocking Bol Bol. Yeah. So if we can find a way to get him to be what we thought Mo Bamba was going to be, then I think we could find a way to mix him in the future. It's worth a shot. It didn't really.
I guess so.
That's the thing. It's a low risk, high reward scenario here. So that's what I love about it. What are your thoughts?
I mean, we take a waiver on Bol Bol. Underwhelming. I went back and looked at some highlights. Most of the highlights are from garbage time. I mean, he's averaged 2.7 points, 1.2 rebounds in 6 minutes played with Denver. That's where all of his games have played. He didn't fare great when he played some G League games with Chicago, who I guess drafted him. 12 points per game in 19 minutes. Like, we just sat at a courtside for the Magic game, the Lakeland Magic game, and if he was only averaging 12 in that competitive arena, you know, I don't know what his potential is. The dude's 7'2". I mean, I guess we're in the business of just having lanky dudes on our team. I guess Chet Holmgren just come on. Like, just this is the doors open for Chet, and we're just going to have the lankiest team in the NBA, perhaps. I mean, I did want a center. We talked about this in our trade previews with who we trade for Gary Harris, who we trade for T. Ross. I didn't envision Bol Bol.
I didn't either.
Yeah. I'll talk about some of the trades that I think we could have made that I maybe wish we could have made. But I'm not enamored. We're taking a flyer on the guy. Okay. We'll see how it goes.
Here's the way this boils down to me. Do you think that the Magic were going to pick a player better than Bol Bol with a second-round pick?
No. Yeah, it's fair.
Probably not. Second-round picks rarely make the league. You know, obviously you can find diamonds in the rough. It can happen. Or you find good players for your G League squad. But, you know, I think we know more about Bol Bol than you would normally know about any other second-round pick. So at the very least, you look at this as we traded a second-round pick to take a shot on Bol Bol.
Yeah. I mean, we have him. I was just looking up the contract. He's under contract next year completely for us, a little over 2 mil, 2.5 mil. And then he's a restricted free agent. He's on that rookie scale salary. So yeah, it's worth it. We got some more depth at center, and I guess I'm happy with that. Let's talk about, though, because I do have some more thoughts on the trades that did not occur. We speculated, as did many in the Magic community, about where our biggest chips might fall. Those biggest chips being Gary Harris, Terrence Ross. We talked a little Rolo. We talked some Bamba. I aired my frustrations. I guess now I'm going to have to be back on team. Let's go, Mo. He's going to develop. Just give him 3 more years. Yay. But what do you think about the trades that did not occur, Pich? How are you reacting to keeping Gary Harris, keeping Terrence Ross, Rolo, Bamba, all that?
I feel good about it. I mean, we've talked about it on our show. If you've watched any of our content before this, you saw us come up with ideas for trades. We didn't like any of the ideas we came up with that much. We like these guys, and we'd like to see them stick around and work things out. And I think there's potential for that to happen. I like the way these guys fit in with this current squad. I feel like we're gelling right now in the last couple of weeks and into this week that, like, I still want to see what this team can produce down the road here. And, so I think it's great that we didn't overreact. I think our asking price was maybe high for some of these guys, but I think it was because they thought, you know what, if it doesn't work out, we'll just hang on to it. Right. So I think there was, again, nothing really for them to lose, no risk. So it was, I think, the right move. Like, I saw they were looking for a first round pick for Rolo, and I'm like, yeah, that's a high price, but that's kind of their way of saying we want to keep him. So if you want him, you got to really come with something. And everyone else is like, yeah, we're going to pass on that. And that's fine, because we're totally fine standing back with what we've got right now and kind of growing and then working through the draft next year. And I mean, as things sit right now, maybe I'm being optimistic, but with the moves and the things in place the way they are, I'm thinking that next year we can definitely be one of those teams that makes a run for the plan and has a shot at some playoff opportunity. So I think it's good. I think they didn't jump to just get rid of somebody because they thought they had to. So what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what you said. You mentioned, no trade is sometimes the best trade. And I don't know the reasons that the front office decided not to bite. You got to figure they had offers. We heard the rumor mill churning about there were things on the table for both of these guys, and they didn't bite. And I think that also maintains some of their leverage moving forward as a front office. We set a price, you don't meet it, we're not going to just roll over and give you what you want. So that kind of establishes a little bit of bargaining power for the future. People know that no, those guys aren't just like trying to sucker you out of more. That's actually what they want. And when they set the line, that's realistic as to what they're trying to get. So I see that.
I would set the line on the Nick Anderson rookie card that I got signed. You'd have to give me $1 million for that. And you know what? That's because I don't really want to give it up. Right. Same idea. But if someone came with $1 million, I think I'd be like, well, I'm going to part with this. See if I can get another one down the road, whatever.
Are you a casual? What are you giving up a Nick Anderson rookie for $1 million? Come on, Pich. I love that line, casual. I don't even know what it means anymore. But anyways, yeah, what I was really kind of surprised at, I guess, is I thought, and this is just me inferring as just a dude who just watches basketball, that the plan was try to gather some trade assets, some picks that could be sexy in a future trade to get another guy, a bigger piece. Because the reality of free agency now is there's not many guys that hit free agency because of the way that these kind of sign and trades work, and agents are getting the bag and then forcing their way out. I mean, we just saw that today in the trade deadline with Harden and such. But so I thought that the front office was going to kind of try to build a cache, get something. I hope that this means that they've had talks with Gary Harris and he's open or amenable to signing a reasonable deal and coming back. Because if he walks this summer, that is kind of embarrassing. That's a little bit of egg on the face. Because look, I mean, if he walks this summer, the guy is helping us win. So, for those of us who are in tank mode already, we don't want to have a guy on the roster that's helping us necessarily win some games, but then is not going to be a factor for the future. You know what I mean? I'd prefer at that point the tank if we let Gary Harris walk this offseason with nothing. I would have preferred some losses and a better pick. All that is speculation. We could, win more games and still get a better pick. It's all luck in the lottery. But getting back to what I was, there were a lot of picks traded at this trade deadline. And maybe that's why the front office decided to stand pat. Maybe their idea was to try to gather some resources to position for a trade. But really, when you look at all the trades from today, I think one first-round pick that I saw was Toronto sending out a first-round pick to get Thaddeus Young and to get Goran Dragic out of there. But I think that was the only first-round pick that I saw on the move. And the
Cavs and the Pacers trade, but not from
true.
Today.
Truth. Yeah, you're right. But those were more marquee guys. Like we didn't have necessarily we didn't have a Domantas Sabonis or a Tyrese Halliburton that we were willing to trade. Like we've got guys, of course, that would have that value, but we don't want to get rid of anyone. We're not trying to get rid of Cole Anthony or any of our young pieces like that would garner a first rounder, I think, in this market. But the thing that I am frustrated on is I did want some more depth at center, and Bol Bol was not my ideal pick. We talked about this previously. I had my eye on Jalen Smith, who was for the Phoenix Suns, kind of more of a banger, a down low, big banger, who the Suns have given up on. They sent him and a future second round to the Pacers for a guy named Torrey Craig, who's averaging 6 points this year. So I would have rather had him than Bol Bol. Jalen Smith was able, had a game where he was, 20 and 15 rebounds. I've seen him in the NBA do some stuff. I haven't seen Bol Bol do anything. And he's also on a rookie scale contract. So that frustrates me. I would have much preferred to have Jalen Smith or a guy like Montrezl Harrell, who was sent out from the Washington Wizards, who seem to be tearing the whole thing down right now. And they got back Ish Smith, the journeyman, and a guy named Vernon Carey, who I have never heard of in my entire life. So there were guys out there that I think I would have loved to have Montrezl Harrell coming off the bench. I know the guy doesn't play great D, but he is energy. He's like another Moritz Wagner. And I love those type of guys on our team. So when I see those types of guys move for little to nothing and us end up with Bol Bol, I'm kind of like, man, I would have preferred that. But I think it all comes down to relationships. It seems like we have a great relationship with Boston. We've made trades with them for 2 years straight now. But yeah, I am a little underwhelmed, although very happy that Gary Harris and Terrence Ross are still with us. I hope this means, again, that Gary Harris is staying.
I'm a little disappointed that they somehow didn't work me into the trade. I mean, I'm sitting just a couple of feet from the Celtics training facility. Why couldn't they have just traded me to Orlando as well? What the hell?
Yeah, you could have gotten waived just like PJ does here. You could have done that.
Yeah. I mean, come on, it would have worked out pretty well timing-wise, I think. What were there any? I mean, I agree. I guess there's probably some things we maybe could have done better, but if teams ultimately didn't want any of what we had or didn't want to pay that price, there's not much you can do to force the hand, and we didn't need to. So I feel like we were in a different mindset than a lot of these teams out there. And I still think that some of these pieces, like Harris or Ross, maybe there's a trade down the line after the season's over that works before the draft. I've already heard a lot of rumors about Ross before the draft, so that's somebody taking him for next year. So you never know. Some of those things could turn out, but I like that these guys are going to be here for the rest of the season. Was there another trade? Since there was a lot of trades today, was there a trade that you loved somewhere else in this NBA thing? Because I didn't see a lot of things that I loved, and in fact, I think I'm most disappointed that the Nets they just ripped off the 76ers as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if that would say ripped off, because I mean the 76ers gave up a guy that wasn't going to play for them anyways. So they were giving up a guy that wasn't going to play for them. Andre Drummond is like a sack of potatoes right now. That guy doesn't have much value to me. Seth Curry is a great 3-point shooter, so that's definitely a bummer. But getting back one of the best scorers in the league in James Harden, as long as he's healthy, we'll see. He's kind of
They asked for so much for Simmons for so long, and I understand they probably weren't going to get it. But if they would have dialed it back a little bit, they could have gotten a better package at an earlier time frame than this. Because I just feel like James Harden is not always the same guy every time he goes out. He's constantly, oh, I don't like it here. I want to go somewhere else. Oh, I don't like it here. He doesn't seem to want to work hard. He seems to crumble under pressure in the big games. And I think it's just going to frustrate Embiid. I think they're breaking up a team that was perhaps ready to take the next step, could be one of the two best teams in the Eastern Conference. And I think that this was a weird time for them to shake things up and bring a guy like that in, who's been an issue in locker rooms in the past. It's a big chance for them to take. I feel like it's just going the other way. And now I love what the Nets have, because they seem like they're going to be a little bit more together. I like the addition of Seth Curry. And man, I just think it's a good, and the Nets are sitting there like, wow, this is amazing. This is fantastic.
Now there was a little more Orlando Magic news that we didn't touch on, and a moment ago. The other Orlando Magic news is the waiving of Michael Carter-Williams and Etuan Moore, in addition to Dozier. Yes. You know, MCW came in 18-19 and played some really good ball for us, going in, getting us at the end of the season, helping us get some wins, get into the playoff. He played around 20 minutes, solid bench minutes, averaging 5.4 points, about 5 rebounds, 4 assists, and just was a good defensive presence, getting a lot of deflections, getting some steals. So it's sad, to see him go. I was excited to see if he would ever come back. But, I mean, how are you feeling about these guys? We haven't seen them all year. It's kind of anticlimactic just that they're being waived now.
I mean, yeah, I'll miss Etuan more, just so I can't make the Etuan less jokes that we got to make in the preseason. And Michael Carter-Williams, yeah, I mean, those guys were pretty much just dudes that I would look at their bench fashion and see what they were wearing on our bench. So, like, I think they probably got along well with the guys that we had, and they used some of their veteran, savvy to talk to the young players while they were there. But I don't really feel like they were adding that much to this team. They weren't playing, so it was sort of just like, why don't we just move on from them? And I so what?
Yeah, well, the thing is, now with the waiving of those 3 players, there is a roster spot available. So we could pick up some, veterans maybe who are waived and bought out, but they're probably not looking to come to Orlando. So, Pich, we just watched the Lakeland Magic play. Sure. My question to you is, which of our G Leaguers would you like to see on that last roster spot, sir?
Well, I know everybody wants to say Giannis Kima.
Yeah.
And maybe they do it just so that he can, try to live his dream and get a shot.
True.
What the hell? I think at this point, whoever takes that last spot, who knows how much that time they're going to see or what they're going to do for playing time. I think maybe it's Jeff Downton time. He seems to really kind of lead that team, I feel. And Hassani is hurt right now, so I don't know if he's going to be coming in right away. So, I mean, he seemed like kind of the team leader to a certain degree, and I don't feel like I've seen him since the summer league and the little bit of preseason, not very long. And this could be an opportunity for him to taste some of the big time and see what's what, because I mean, he's one of the team's leading scorers. So
yeah, you're right. Now it all kind of makes sense when you say Tima and getting some Tima time in the NBA. It is kind of odd that he came over to the G League at this point in his career, and maybe there was kind of a like behind the scenes handshake agreement that, hey, after the deadline, we're going to make some moves. We'll bring you up on the roster. That makes a lot of sense. I mean, after watching,
it'd be a good story, right?
Sure.
And it'd get a lot of get a lot of publication. Obviously, he's huge in Latvia. I mean,
obviously, huge Latvian market we're trying to break into. Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, after just seeing him though, he did not look great in that game against the Westchester Knicks. Looked a little lost on defense. The shot was way off. You know me, I'm going to stick up for my ginger brethren. I'm going to want to see Asani grab it. Devin Kennedy, I don't know where he is in his rehab. I know the game before the Westchester Knicks game he played, and he's been having some good games, shooting the rock well. That would also be a really nice story, because he hurt himself so badly just a year ago, and to see him back on an NBA roster would be a beautiful full circle moment.
Well, we got a chance to watch him dance to the Jeopardy theme at the game we
Yeah.
went to, which was pretty outstanding. If you have video footage of that, you should put it up now.
Okay.
But yeah, there's a lot of options for guys that they could call up here to fill this spot, and I think any of them are good. And who knows, maybe they even rotate it. One guy comes up for a couple of weeks, then someone goes down, comes back up. I'm not sure if they can do that. I would assume.
Yeah, with the 2-way or a 10-day, yeah, I think they could. So we'll see. That's it. Not many moves, but sometimes no moves are the best moves.
Well, what about the biggest move ever from the NHL? As Martin St. Louis, one of my favorite players, shown here with me in the Stanley Cup, has just become the head coach of my Montreal Canadiens. I'm so excited about it. It's one of the biggest moves that's happened this week. I know it's not a Magic related.
You're the only one. You're the only one.
No, there's plenty of other people from Habs Nation. They just don't watch the show.
All right. Well, with that being said, Habs Nation, we're out. We'll see you soon. Peace.
Thanks for coming.